Not fighting. I'm just arguing with the chat that someone said if I'm going to donate like $17.99, they need to like make a wall of fame of donors for the low level people. And I just saw a segment every game where they just put the camera on the donor and everybody chants their names. Bill. If we turn your attention to Bill in section 475, that's not even a section, but 475, Bill gave $2 to NIL. He gave a deuce for the Q's. Bill. The whole crowd chants for him. I like that.
If he's in section 475, he doesn't have very good seats.
But giving a deuce for the come on, let's make that a thing. Everybody gives $2. And every time they do that, every time they give a deuce to the Q's, Mike Veely can't say it at a game.
All right, with that, we bring on Etan Thomas to talk Cuse men's basketball. Etan, how you doing?
Y'all having fun over there.
Yeah. We're making our own good time. Some fans, I think, are uncomfortable with us calling this a big game tonight. You're aware of the standings and what this game could mean, or, as it pertains to the ACC tournament. You win this game, you're probably going. You lose this game, and then you're certainly sweating it out here down the stretch. Do you look at tonight as a big game?
Yeah, it's a big game. I mean, let's be honest. This has been a difficult season this year, but we want to make the ACC tournament. That is something that we want to do. So not making the ACC tournament would be very bad. So yes, this is a very big game. This kind of the battle of the bottom three of the ACC. So, like you said, if we lose this game, we're probably not going to go. If we win this game, our chances are still alive. So yes, this is a huge game. Now, I mean, nobody wants to be in this position that we're in, but this is the position that we're in. So yes, it's a big game.
I let off the show by saying this is a terrible position for Syracuse basketball to be in, but they can never be in this position again. Do you agree with that statement?
Of course.
Like you're Syracuse.
Nobody wants us to be competing for, hoping to make the ACC tournament. No, we don't want to be in this position ever again. This is a terrible position to be in. But this is where we are. So what do people want? Them to just give up? Just to quit? Just to say, all right, we don't want to play anymore. Let's just mail it in. No, nobody wants to do that. And the coaches have been reiterating, the players have been reiterating that we're not going to quit. There is no quit in us. Coach Griff, he had a great interview where he said no. I think he was referring to responding to a fan that was maybe said something like that, and he was like, no, we're not. Not even the notion of us quitting is a possibility. So no, nobody wants that. You want guys to keep fighting, and that's what they're doing.
The comment, the topic came up earlier in the show about, maybe some fans have turned the page on this season and they don't really care about what happens tonight or the rest of the way, that, it's been a failure of a season no matter what, and they're already looking ahead at next year. And the topic came up that the players don't care as much either, or might not care as much either, because they're getting paid now. What do you think about that? And you kind of alluded to it right there based on what you're hearing. Do you think NIL will make, and I'm not saying like Syracuse in general, but do you think that NIL will make college basketball players or college football players that are in a similar situation like this where the season didn't go the way that they wanted to, do you think it will make them care less about the wins and losses and whether they go to a certain postseason tournament or make a certain playoff or that kind of thing?
If the players have shown any type of a hint that they do not care, then you can ask those questions. But they haven't done that. So it's kind of a moot point. You know what I mean? The players have every single game, every single post game, win or lose, they're into it. They hurt when they lose. You know what I mean? And coaches are upset when we lose. And that's the general atmosphere. Nobody is just mailing it in. Now there are ways where you can very easily see if they're not interested anymore. But nobody can accuse any of our players of feeling that way or expressing it or even exhibiting it in any way. So no, I would reject that notion completely.
I was in the locker room after the last game, the Pitt game, and it was downtrodden. It was a bunch of guys that you could tell cared because it looked like Syracuse locker rooms after NCAA tournament losses. There was crying. There was people upset. Could a loss like that cause the team to completely go in the tank after, you finally think you clicked and it completely goes off the rails?
So players don't have the same mentality that fans have. So we have to stop equating the two. Fans have been ready to do away with this team for a long time. Fans are saying that, okay, this is a wash of a season. Let's just look towards next year, like everything that you said before, right? The players haven't said that. The players haven't exhibited. So we can't keep making that, comparison. They don't compare. The players are still into it. Yes, every loss hurts. Doesn't mean you're just going to give up and quit for the whole season because you had a tough loss. Tough loss is a part of the game. But no, they want to win and they want to keep playing, and that's what they've repeated, over and over again.
Do you think this team has improved? Are you seeing signs of improvement, Etan? And if so, what areas have you seen maybe some growth in? And I know it's probably hard because the roster has changed and the starting lineup's changed so much this year. But are you seeing growth in certain areas?
Well, it's hard to really quantify growth when you're losing. It really is. Like I'll say that Chris Bell had a good game and he shot the ball well and he hit 7 threes and everything like that. But we lost the game. So it's kind of hard. I'll say that, Lampkin had 18, 19 rebounds and, he played well the whole time and he was battling and, he played an unbelievable amount of minutes and everything like that, but we lost the game. So it's hard to really quantify that. You know what I mean? It's a tough question.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That brings up another point that we were talking about yesterday about, the biggest priority in the offseason. We were talking about, the need of a point guard, and we were talking about the need for rim protection. You obviously could speak to the latter, right? I mean, rim protection was a big part of your job and what you brought to the team. This particular squad obviously does not have that. Can you speak to that, Etan? How important it is to have that last line of defense and how that can kind of be a game changer for teams, why it's so important and why this team lacks it and misses it.
Well, we do have somebody that's 7'3", 7'4" on the roster that could be a rim protector. But I mean, it is tough and the game is different. So, you have more shooters now. So it's kind of hard to really sit in the 2-3 zone. You even saw with Coach Boeheim kind of changing the zone and shifting it a little bit there in the latter years, where they would have the center run out to the corner. I wasn't really a huge fan of that, but they would have Jesse running out in the corner on one side, challenging the three, because you have more guys that can shoot the three. But yeah, I do think having a rim protector is of the utmost. It's really important because when the guards. I'm not going to say don't do their job, but when the defensive assignment is missed, I'll say it that way, and a player does get by a guard, the last line of defense is the big man, is the rim protector. And, being able to rely on somebody that can protect the rim is really invaluable. So I would definitely say the rim protectors are still very important in the game.
Todd, someone is calling me out for something I just said in a question.
Uh-oh.
And I want to ask you about it as a former college player.
Okay.
There were players that were emotional after that Pitt loss.
Okay.
Can you speak to maybe a loss where this season has to wear on a 20-year-old kid, and can you recall times where you got emotional after losses, or even in the pros where this is your life and you're putting all your effort into it, it's just not working?
Of course. Every player has had that. I mean, there's times where different teammates have almost wanted to go to blows because they're so upset after a loss, and the emotions are high. This is an emotional game. But I don't understand the question. So is the issue with what you...
Somebody would be so emotional. Like Judah, I'm not speaking of school now. Judah Mintz used to cry out after almost every loss. He hated losing. Right. Like, are you shocked by a statement that the players were that upset by losing, especially being up 16?
No, not at all. You know what I mean? There's people don't understand that as a player, you want to win and you give your all, and you are going to be emotional at times. That's what happens. So the caller or the person that is referring online, he's shocked that the players did have that reaction. That's what you're saying. Oh, okay, no. Then he hasn't seen
that there's tears in the locker room.
No. That happens all the time. I mean, players are getting upset and everything like that because they put their all into it. That's normal. You know what I mean? That happens.
And that goes back to your point, Paulie, about, and your point, Etan, about players caring, right?
Yeah.
They, if they didn't care, they wouldn't be crying, right?
This has got to. You think as a fan that this season's weighing on you? Imagine being the ones that are being blamed for what's happening at Syracuse University right now.
But why is there this question that the players? Because I hear it keep coming up, but have they seen any hint of the players not caring or not, fighting hard or wanting to mail it in? Why does that keep coming up?
Oh, I think it's more of people are just searching for answers.
Yeah,
like it's come down to like people think it's the way they warm up. They don't shoot. They're missing foul shots because they don't shoot them during warm-ups. I think everybody's just searching for answers now. So
yeah,
the fan base isn't used to this.
Okay, but the warming up. Do y'all remember how DC used to warm up? Does anybody remember how Derek Kilman used to warm up before the games? Just think about that. He would be chilling. He would be sitting on the thing, his shoes untied, kicking his feet, laughing, and then go out there and just kill everybody. People, when you lose, people point at every single thing. You know what I mean? It's not none of that. I understand the frustration, but don't overanalyze stuff. You know what I mean? That's just guys. Just I understand it though. It's a tough season, and like you said in the beginning of this, we don't want to be in this position ever again, where we're competing to be in the ACC tournament. We don't want to be in this position. So I do understand the fans' frustration. I will always say that.
There is a difference, though, right, between effort and pride. Right? Is there a point where you got to have some pride in your game and play defense? So this team has struggled on defense, and you can get better at defense during the year.
Yeah, I hear you, but sometimes you have the rotation and the other team just knocks down the shots. Like I hear what you say. I hear what you're saying. You know what I mean? Pride on defense, moving your feet, getting there earlier. If it takes a step earlier, then getting there that step earlier. Not letting your man drive past you. You know what I mean? I understand all of that, but I don't think it's because they don't care. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's the reason.
Yeah,
but like as a player, could you at not one point say this is never happening to me again, and it will happen again, but just dig in, like play 40 minutes.
I hear you, but that's the plan. I mean, I'm sure their plan going into the game is not to like let it happen. You know what I mean? That's what they're trying to do. I'm sure they're not saying, okay, we're gonna go into this game and let them shoot some open threes and just, you know what I mean, or out rebound us or anything like that. That's not the game plan. That's not what the coaches are telling them to do. That's not what they're saying to each other. You know what I mean? Like I don't like the narrative that they don't care, or that they've mailed it in. And I hear it keep coming up, and I see it in comment sections, and I'm like, no, y'all fans might feel that way, but that is not how the players feel. And they have said it over and over again that they're not giving up. And the coaches have said that, and the players have said that. That is not how they're feeling.
I'm with you, Etan. I think you got to be careful when you question somebody's effort, right? I mean, you could question their execution. And I think that's where it comes from too. Like we're seeing in our chat right now, like, people see like 25-0 start against Stanford or giving up 90+ points to last place Miami. And they say, well, how can that happen? Like if they're trying, how can that happen? Effort and execution are different, to your point, Tom, because you got to be careful when you're calling out somebody. I mean, they as we said, they've worked very hard to get to this point. They obviously care. You could question their execution, but to your point, I don't know that you could question their effort right now.
Right, and I'm glad that Coach Autry corrected himself after the Miami game. Because after the Miami game, I think he was a little bit of emotions boiling over, and he said, we had no effort, we had no defense, we had no everything. Like he was frustrated. And then afterwards, he said, okay, I think it was the next day or two. He might even come on here and said that. He's like, all right. Yeah, he said, okay, the guys are trying. Yes, they are making an effort. That's not quite what I had meant to say. And, it's a frustrating season. That's what it is. I understand the frustration. You know what I mean? It's a frustrating season. So, yeah, we don't want to be in this position again.
All right, Etan, great stuff. Great conversation as always. Enjoy the game tonight, and we look forward to chatting with you again next week.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
All right, Etan Thomas joining us here on the show. With that, we'll hit a timeout. We'll continue the basketball talk on the other side. We'll get the opposing team's view. Corey Smith, editor from Pack Pride, joins us next to tell us about the Wolfpack. Back after this on ESPN Radio.